The Tragic Life of Buala. The story you are about to hear is true, and it happened right here in Thailand. Buala is the name of a girl who had a very unfortunate life. She lived with her aunt and uncle because her father, who had gone to work on a fishing boat, completely disappeared. Heartbroken, her mother went insane when Buala was in the 4th grade. One day, her mother became frantic and severely beat her. The villagers intervened and sent her mother to a psychiatric hospital. Since then, Buala never saw her mother again, and her aunt never visited or brought her mother back. Living alone at home, Buala starved and had no money to buy food, relying initially on her mother's small savings. The villagers questioned the aunt, asking why she didn't take her growing niece in, noting that Buala could do household chores and if the aunt refused, others would gladly take her. Consequently, the aunt took Buala in but forbade her from continuing her education, forcing her to work around the house instead. The aunt had no children, and the kind-hearted uncle suggested treating Buala like their own child so she could care for them in their old age. However, the aunt scoffed, saying not to expect much, claiming Buala would soon become wild, get a husband, and become a burden. While mopping the floor, Buala listened to her aunt's harsh orders to wash clothes and feed the chickens while they went to the fields. The aunt threatened her with a stick if she just ate and slept. After finishing her chores, Buala would play with stones alone, missing her school friends, her mother, and wondering about her missing father. Village Headman Chong passed by, saw Buala playing alone, and felt pity. He gave her oranges and sweets, telling her to eat them all without sharing, and promised to bring more next time. Buala thanked him for the 4 oranges and 5 stuffed sweets, but she decided to save 2 oranges and 2 sweets for her aunt. Eating the sweets made her feel refreshed, as her aunt rarely provided fruits or snacks. When her aunt and uncle returned, Buala served dinner and offered them the saved snacks. Instead of being grateful, the aunt glared, slapped Buala's head hard, and scolded her for offering leftovers, demanding that adults must be given food first. Buala cried, explaining the headman gave them to her to eat, and they weren't leftovers. The aunt threatened to slap her again for arguing, but the uncle intervened, saying they should be glad she saved some for them, noting their crops were dying and they had no money. Later, while eating sour curry, the aunt angrily cursed at Buala because the soup lacked tamarind and was tasteless. The headman continued to bring Buala snacks and sometimes his daughter's old clothes. Buala learned to eat what the headman gave her, as her aunt would selfishly consume anything she tried to share, reiterating that adults must eat first. By age 16, Buala grew into a beautiful young woman, causing her aunt to become jealous and overly protective of her husband. The uncle, however, loved Buala like a true daughter and never scolded or hit her. Despite the constant abuse and hard work, Buala remained grateful and constantly thought of finding her mother at the hospital, though her aunt took all the money Buala earned from chopping salted radishes at home. Tragedy struck the headman's family when his 58-year-old wife died in her sleep. Buala helped out at the funeral every night until the cremation, earning the headman's gratitude. Months later, the headman passed by and gave Buala apples. When he learned she had no money saved because her aunt took it all, and that she desperately wanted to visit her mother, he offered to secretly take her to Bangkok the next day. He paid for her fare and accompanied her so she wouldn't get lost. They traveled to the hospital, only to learn the doctor had discharged her mother 2 years ago because she had improved and wanted to see her child. Buala burst into tears, realizing her mother never made it home and was lost. The headman helped Buala file a missing person report, but the process took so long that they missed the last bus home. Stranded late at night, they ate a delicious meal, and the headman rented a hotel room for them to escape the mosquitoes. He assured Buala he wouldn't do anything inappropriate, and they slept in the same room but separately. During the night, Buala cried for her parents, and the headman comforted her, advising her to focus on her future. They returned on the first morning bus to find the villagers searching for Buala. When her aunt discovered they had spent the night in a hotel, she furiously accused the headman of statutory rape. She demanded he marry Buala and pay a dowry of 20,000 baht and 10 baht of gold or face jail. The headman agreed to marry Buala to settle the matter, telling her she could leave him later if she found a younger man she loved. The forced marriage took place, and the headman's children accepted Buala. For the first 2 months, they lived chastely while the headman continued searching for her mother. One hot night, the headman told her she was free to leave him, but Buala refused. She expressed her devotion to him for his constant kindness, declaring she would care for him until old age as a good wife. Touched by her words, the headman realized he deeply loved her. They lived happily together and eventually had a daughter. The aging headman found joy in walking his daughter to the newly built kindergarten. Despite never finding her parents, Buala lived a happy life with the headman, their children, and his grandchildren, finally free from her aunt's abuse. She remained a devoted companion to the headman, and the villagers continued to respect him as a good man. The story teaches that doing good deeds eventually brings good rewards. This brings us to the final story for the listeners, concerning the consequences of good and evil deeds. Thank you for listening to Thai Local Tales. I'm Captain Piroj. Until our next journey together, take care, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next episode.